Hi, Representatives Pingree and McGovern. Thank you so much for being on this call. I have two questions. One, how much support do you think you'll have in your caucus and also from the leadership for the vote tomorrow on requiring the president to supply a timeline for the drawdown? And the second question is, why do you feel that your colleagues are able to so easily dismiss additional aid for the unemployed or Medicaid expansions or extensions rather, and yet are able to continually vote for funding for the war?
Well, I'll give you one answer. And I've said it before. I'm a freshman member here, but I served in the state legislature, and states, as you know, have to balance their budgets every year. They can't spend money without having it, in a sense, in the bank. And it is, I have to say, it's baffling to me that people have decided to, make certain things required to be paid for, and wars go without being paid for. And I think it goes back to the Bush administration, where they set a precedent for, war being, somewhat of a national security issue. They don't have to worry about it. And now, everything we talk about has to have funding for it. So you've got a lot of members who have sort of mounted a sort of self-righteous float to say, everything has to have a pay for, except for this war, a war that has no timetable, not a winning strategy, and as Jim was saying, a constantly changing mission. So we're nation building. We're doing a whole variety of things that, frankly, shouldn't even be in the mission of what we're trying to do there. So I can't really argue why people do it, but I am just struck by the fact that increasingly every week that's what our debate focuses on, is increasing the deficit, and that's exactly what these wars have done and seem to continue to do. Jim can probably say better than
Oh,
me how he expects the vote to go tomorrow, but I think we have increasing
yeah.
support for ending this war.
Yeah, we haven't done a whip count, so we don't know. I mean, we're hoping, for for a very strong vote. I mean, we're going to work it like we want to win it. But the fact is, we haven't done a whip count, so we don't know. But we know there's a lot of anxiety out there, not just amongst Democrats, but also amongst some Republicans. The question on why on the unemployment insurance. I mean, look, the reality is that the jobless, those who are unemployed, don't have a lobby up here. I mean, people. I think there are a lot of members up here who don't feel the pressure. That's why they need to get home and maybe talk to some of their constituents, because there are a lot of people unemployed across this country. But there's not a lobby up here saying, whoa, it's very important that you support the those who are out of work, because if you don't, it'll impact your election. And I regret that it takes pressure to move people up here on some issues, but I think that's one of the explanations. And on the war, quite frankly, it's because it's kind of moved to the background. The majority of people up here, just like the majority of Americans, are not directly involved in this war. There is only a slice of America that has members of their family actually serving in Afghanistan. We're not asked to pay for the war. There's no war tax. There's no draft. We're all just, we get about our business. And even in the newspapers, with the exception of the recent General McChrystal flap, articles on Afghanistan have tended to move off the front page. So people just kind of just go along to get along, and we'll just keep on going along and not feel the pressure to change anything. Well, part of the reason why we want this debate tomorrow, and part of the reason why we're doing this call, is because we want to increase the pressure on our colleagues and get people across the country to understand that this is a big deal. People are dying over there. We are going bankrupt as a result of this war. We don't have a clearly defined mission about what we're doing over there. So we need to get our house in order here with regard to Afghanistan. And I think to the extent that we can focus attention on what is happening there, the more and more we're going to see people move to say we need to change this policy.